Hare Krishna. We can't avoid perceiving sense objects, but we can avoid pursuing them. Perceiving sense objects means we see them with our eyes, we see beautiful things with our eyes, we hear melodious music with our ears, we smell aromatic things with our nose. Now this sort of perception can't be avoided. We can't go around in the world with closed eyes. And of course, there are many people who actually want to not only go around with the world with wide open eyes, trying to take in as many alluring sense objects as possible, but they also want to use technologically advanced vision to look into attractive sense objects from different parts of the world. So the point is that in this world there is so much propaganda that it is in the sense objects that it is in enjoying the sense objects that we will find happiness. And however, because the sense objects are temporary, because their attractiveness is temporary, and because most importantly our capacity to enjoy them is temporary, the pleasure that we get from them is inevitably temporary. And Krishna says in 5.22 in the Bhagavad Gita that such a pleasure is the womb of misery. Dukkha yonaya evate. So as spiritualists, we do know that such pleasures will end in misery, and that's why we try to avoid them. But even when we try to avoid them, we are often not able to avoid them because we find ourselves entangled by those pleasures, because we perceive them and then they seduce us, and then we start pursuing them. And we may feel like how do I break free from this cycle? The key to breaking free is recognizing that we have to perceive them, but we don't have to pursue them. That we can't close our eyes to the perception, but after perception comes contemplation. After contemplation comes imagination. And after imagination comes decision. After a decision comes action. And that action involves pursuing the sense of pursuit. So when we are, the Bhagavad Gita talks about how when there is contemplation on the perception, then that propels us on the trajectory to destruction. Krishna talks about in dhyayato vishayan pumsa sangasteshu pajayate. He says we contemplate the sense objects and then we are propelled along the sense objects towards destruction. But the way to avoid such propulsion towards destruction is not just by saying no, I will see but I will not contemplate. You may say, how is it possible? If I have to see, whatever I see, won't I think about them? No, it's not necessary. For example, even in this particular moment, if we are sitting, say, in a particular room, there are multiple perceptions that are coming. Maybe somewhere some vehicle is going and we are hearing the sound of the vehicle. Maybe somewhere someone is answering a phone call and we are hearing either the ringing of the phone or we are hearing the talk of that person in the background. Now we can't avoid those perceptions coming in, but we can choose whether those perceptions should influence us or not, whether we dwell on those perceptions or not. And we can't completely block out the perception, but we don't have to give them those perceptions prominence in our consciousness. If we have something better to focus on, something more valuable, more interesting, more important to focus on, then if we are in pursuit of that, then we won't be caught by other things, we won't be trapped by other things, we won't end up pursuing other things. And that's why before this 2.62-63, Krishna says we should be pursuing some higher reality. And what is that higher reality? That is Krishna himself. Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta sita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. So he says, yukta sita matparaha. Make me the goal, focus on me, Krishna says. And this way you will become self-control. So the way we can avoid pursuing even after perceiving is that we focus on pursuing Krishna. That means in our life we have a purpose of serving Krishna, and we focus only on those perceptions that help us to move closer to Krishna. and we neglect those perceptions. We don't dwell on those perceptions which are not connected with Krishna. And in that way, although temptations will present externally, we won't be captivated by them. Rather, we will stay focused on marching onwards towards Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.